Hello, my name is Anthony Wall, aka Romulus. The reason I'm also known as Romulus is because I've deciphered Romulus science. Romulus and Remus know where the male is alone. Adam and Eve know where the female is alone. And Alpha, where the individual is alone as temporary positive, where invisible value is still discernible. And there are levels of invisible visible but still discernible value that are tied as an increasing nature of volume as value, as the identity of positive that is self-generating, as five semi-natures of positive and as three semi-natures of positive simultaneously, distinctly and non-distinctly, by and as the value of one identity's identity of relationship to itself, so distinctly and non-distinctly, onto the Trinity, onto the five pillars of Islam, for example, because these are religions about science criminally foreign influenced. So they had to use cipher and decipher. That they have to use a method that's going to demonstrate the first part of the Quran and the first part of the Old Testament are with us, not let free speech and science true. We still have scientists using facts and truth as lies consciously and pretending that's debatable because we have the sequence shifts. Now we have theater associated with the UN, for example, with actors like who's the actor? I forgot his name. He was in Titanic. Where people pose before sensibility natures with internation police forms, shared policing of locations, and for example, each nation's trade center and other nations' equivalents encounter where that's in fact treatment nature where value is invisible but still discernible value, where they have wars with nuclear weapons, where they have standards with criminally foreign influence zoning laws and pathology of infrastructure. See, we have that arranged as a racketeering method that has nothing to do with no. With this was they put color in there with a racketeering method. Our founders didn't have free speech and they want us to demonstrate that, but we have that. We have the proofs of that obfuscated and worse by the people who are the experts on English. I mean, on each in nature of science, like American history, hiding what's recorded right simple up front and relevant completely to interpretations of Marbury versus Madison, therefore criminally foreign influenced and exploited that way while they're pretending they are positive in relationship to nations where they fight peacefully, where that's maintained criminally foreign influence racketeering roles in natures. As criminal seditious nature, they had no right to legalize, especially the way they exploited recorded lie progressions from each standing database position in relationship to opinion natures about the validity of science people. Oh, those are good people. Of course, that's the sciences. Of course, they have integrity. Facts used as lies, truths used as lies. Correlation sees the people stacking in New York City is recorded involved with a racketeering method that is worse than war crimes that our founders didn't have free speech and want and need us to demonstrate is tied to sub rosa statutes, racketeering uses of statutes and of precedents of the language of the law, hiding exploitation nature, hiding exception nature, exploitations of it. And they're having this maintained and they're having the ability to maintain it because they have it. Each spot of the ground is involved with each age of fact treatment nature forsaken from logic's actual course. We have black and white and all these different nations and cultures involved with psychology's physical delusions and racketeering roles with justice departments here and there, crime methods where they pretend people have conspiracy theories. They're stealing our identities. They're writing lies about us and fake behavior into databases because with areas they're hiding their racketeering roles tied to that, those locations, uses of it, in collusion with the overt criminal enterprises private ones, and interbranch, and intermilitary, foreign and domestic. Now, these are trade center racketeering roles since its inception, but it was right through the trade center attack and with the investigators of it. Now you see the people stacking as the VA. Now we have a whole bunch of jobs and stuff like that reliant upon the perfect world forsaken at once. When you're entertaining, see when people when they're using reparations and they're using people who are saying that, oh, you have to have a black representative to speak for but those people are self-defeating the argument because they're fake sides. It's like good cop, bad cop. But in other words, they're preventing free speech of anyone, and they're forcing us to be seen as color, as white or black, and they're preventing actual science, which actual science is correlation that shows finite, active, progressive, sequence shifts. Also before that, and also beyond that, and identity racketeering is going on here. Now, we have obligations to demonstrate when you tell someone to be a human, why we are human is why we're an individual nature of volume as value first. In relationship to the surface constitution, we have people pretending to be against dictators involved with racketeering and then using name stacking and so valuing vertical and horizontal database racketeering. We have each age of fact sheet nature, not just forsaken, and we have branches of government only capable of needing to hide states and areas lie progressions from whoever becomes presidents as styles of liars pretending other and pretending they're about justice, as people using concepts like justice and like things mentioned by the Old Testament and stuff like that out of context, out of sequence rather, excuse me. So that's a big difference because this is about the value of sequence nature. What is complete nature? What is valued completely to the top of the Z and to the bottom of the Z? Not semi-positive, temporary positive. See, we have temporary positive. Oh, let's patch it up. I'll just, because while they're needing to say they're positive in relationship to wars, people who are involved with sanctions, litigation that is involved with racketeering, and military distinctly different statutes originally still in collusion against our founders who did not again have free speech, and this again was in layers. Even every group that's forced to be like England is forced to be claimed who colonized Connecticut. You can't pretend that's a truth and fact and pretend not to realize that and how there were other nations that were forcing that. In other words, this is your side, you say that, but they have the shared internation uses of database relationships of laws that, again, you can't say these things. You have to be a temporary positive that is criminal seditious nature role. And now you have to pretend that's all, but that's, it's a perfect world forsaken. The Civil War didn't end slavery. Maybe the Civil War left the extent of what our founders could counter, having to hide the extent of their roles with this because of how nations individually grouped and together had what was fluent through them then and now. Fake sides. We have conspiracy theories and statutes with the wording of them, with exceptions already having been criminally used. I mean, pretended not realized, and that hid already before that was affected, needed by them because of their family members. Everyone, each identity of the ground is in a trap. Science reveals that we have criminally foreign influence zoning laws and means to afford infrastructure and to counter a breaching racketeering method influence tactically denatured relationship to nature in the suburbs, let alone. So what they're doing is preventing free speech and reliefs. Before we even need reparations, we need reliefs. Especially for all the natures of racketeering, everyone's happy to be part of, not realizing. So they want to fight about They want to fight. They're keeping. They're playing. They're keeping the stewards of our government, the titles of our government, the titles of our military, they have titles with with prisons and with training them like on off CCSU, on off WFSB. I mean on off Wesleyan College. Involve racketeering with it. Oh, these people are going to go on. They want to be when they grow up. They want to be this identity. They want to be a journalist. Now these people are involved with racketeering. We never had free speech. The journalism was involved with human trafficking. WFSB, WTNH, Fox Connecticut News recorded, confessed, and demonstrated. Involved with racketeering now with people all along the route that goes by the state judicial branch offices. Men and women who are involved with what is Manifest Trade Center, Washington, D.C., Pentagon tied racketeering acts and uses, again, of intercampuses of each age, connected, each type, and even though they're in other cities, people of the same ages, and the people that live around the schools, maintain self-valued, self-cultivated, originally propagated and still exploited, originally propagated tools kept needing to hide the same sequence shift with evidences, with database racketeering. They're attaching little kids to fake behavior. We have all, how we have experts on each age of fact treatment nature mentally. Those people are involved with human trafficking, and with recorded how they keep victim predators as each identity of the science. Again, criminally foreign influence delusions raw. It's not even a question if you deal with science that and how what is wanted needed by reparations. We have to ask for it in a way that's right. In other words, so we won't have time to mess up. So we have to ask for reliefs. And who wants to say that this, in other words, someone could say, oh, okay, well, it's been too long, so we don't believe in reparations. Well, first of all, too, if they entertain reparations, with you guys calling it black and white, you leave out the racketeering method you guys are still involved with. Because this is involved with in other words, CNN is involved with local former director of the FBI down, a whole bunch of nations gather around. See, they want the counters to war is business, which is economics, which is criminally foreign influence. We have identities of natures of industries that they can't defend in free speech at the same time. They can't stand free speech at the same time with sequence true, the order of the finite true, the order to the active true, order progressives value true, and identities value true. So you guys are preventing free speech from even teaching American history properly. It's all right, you guys have opinions. As strangers, I'm asking to report their roles with human trafficking, recorded racketeering, confessed and demonstrated by my new and past neighbors, involve racketeering uses of roles with foreign and domestic military, all private tied to that. How many people involved with psychology? Asian nations, people associated with the DMV, DOT, tied to they're all victims of predator. Oh, we went to this job though. They're already involved with racketeering since they were kids, and they don't even realize the extent of it. And then what they do, they put things to have people pretend they do or they don't like people, positive, real or not, for real emotions. In other words, they're hiding what is actually recorded, which is a method too. Like, in other words, if someone needs to report which is actually recorded, all kinds of racketeering acts and methods and actual causes of it on urban areas. Not by accident, they're recorded consciously having been attaching the real causes of predicate acts to groups wrong, to criminal enterprises wrong. Not even a lawyer. Simply, they're even preventing the predicate acts and the whole racketeering methods from being reported for how they use DMV, DOT, per all that tied to how they pretend behind their people's backs to their family members that they know them and how they exploit such. These are courts with judges, retired and standing, female judges, black and white, involved with racketeering with child sex offenders, also with KKK themed racketeering cliques, military, foreign, and domestic involved. Justin Levinskis, people with DOT, Department of Insurance investigators, intercity, people with like West Hartford, medical racketeering, roles with Bolorama, racketeering, roles with end of the Brown Turnpike, racketeering, roles with all the intelligence community in Weathersfield, racketeering. Get them from my name and put one name, pick one name in sequence, forging, switching names. This is a whole bunch of nations involved with keeping this true. They have a whole bunch of people tied to the Demorrow family with CSCSU and a Hanson family, and a whole bunch of people in their sexual circle that's also recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved racketeering with uses of New Britain Superior Court of Hartford courts leading up to and in the Trade Center attack. They were stacking databases with racketeering acts and with their mouths verbally, federal crimes, evidence racketeering, forging names, switching names, mail crime rolls, wire crime rolls, drugs crime rolls, with doctors, with people that with human trafficking with these various natures courts, not by accident. Their actual motivations for this, their family members, and their uses of confessions distinctly and non-distinctly from the church, still criminally foreign influence too, is for us to figure out. Not with prayer, but not science. Too. In other words, prayer is supposed to be what is really true always, to the sequence true, the order of the finite, the order to the active, the order of the progressive, and identity's complete value, which is then further semi-nature value, semi-nature relationship to a complete nature, and the value of that to our semi-nature, which is only temporary positive is only criminal and see, it's just nature. If it's not temporary / lasting positive per this value nature system, though. So no, this says that it's all right if people hurt animals or something like that, fish, whatever, like that. So we have psychology involved with a whole bunch of natures of racketeering and recorded consciously sickly pretending to be against it. Oh, but I'm against animals. That's evil. Those people are real sick, involved with racketeering as black and white. Again, females interbranch at the highest levels. Now, what do they do to defend themselves? As victim predators, as the overt criminal enterprises, and involved with racketeering with them and with private ones simultaneously, no. Because this is simultaneously exploiting what is always simultaneously the identity of value progression, inseparable from all parts of space value. And that's per science. But see, we have sequence racketeering that wants to debate the debatable, leaving out the sequence racketeering, leaving out what's actually recorded. See, they invested a whole bunch of people that worked for the FBI in New Haven on and off of it, who work for the campuses, each of the departments. A whole bunch of departments at CCSU is involved with a whole bunch of racketeering with people on Church Street in Old Weathersfield through time. And now with my new and past neighbors with the Dillon family and with judges. So now they're trying to branch of the government individually grouped in together. They're needed to hide from me for when I speak and plot to hurt more. And they already involved with human trafficking. Attach me and my family to fake locations, fake natures of relationship to others, fake natures, fake relationships to complete strangers, with a principal sex offender note, and more child sexual, medical, and judicial and interbranch drug cliques with formal racketeering with that, and informal drugs racketeering with that. And then they say, then the pretending people have conspiracy theories. These are people with racketeering acts with Russian families too. These are misprision groups. They're talking about colleagues where they know criminally. They're using statutes, everything it says, leaving out exceptions. If you follow science here, then we're going to have the right responses. Someone's going to deny that those people stacking in New York City is not affected by the racketeering, breaching racketeering method, way worse than just slavery, which is sustained. Not one has trained. We just have to get on the same page because we are that same value. See, but we're now on other value nature systems. Invested, you can't defend that as practical. And else at the same time. So we have to liberate individual rights, free speech. We have them recorded criminally pretending to be against dictators because they know they're involved with racketeering natures. It's actually recorded. Our branches of government originally and still. They have no choice. Free speech. Now one must teach. We have nations individually grouped and together exploiting that. Group fake sides. Russia, you guys have Russians against Russians, Americans against Americans with this Justice Department racketeering with their physical delusions and their racketeering with areas. Now, they brought this up and confessed and recorded and demonstrated roles with this. My new and past neighbors. Now, they're also recorded interbranch lying about people's behavior. And then telling people to shoot people for way less when they're involved with child racketeering with their kids, too. With the principal sex offenders campus, tied to more racketeering with a whole bunch of Officer Jerry Miller, a Kerr family, other families recorded, confessed, and demonstrated racketeering uses of overt criminal enterprises and of the stewards of the Witness Protection Program involved with racketeering in my area, involved with them through time. Their uses of Facebook for racketeering right through administrations and these racketeering acts and roles and uses of that with the human trafficking with Russians. Now they're forging names, switching names, and lying about people and telling people to lie about people, and they're evaluating as the ones who put media fake locations, fake conversations with other sequence shifts through time. There's a Debbie Gold who 2 times prevented kind of conversations may have come up to me yelling. Then she lied about my reaction to it, and God knows what else they put in databases because people were making confessions to me that didn't make sense. But someone told me. Someone told a Rick C. on Faglio and said I was in a location I wasn't in. Class we I said things never did. Then years later, after he graduated, I never had anything to do with him. He told me a Brendan Leahy and his father, a Brendan Leahy, and a Brian Silver. With them were involved also with the Domain brothers and with racketeering. And with the Mayano family. Now he's involved with the Mayano family is also involved with human trafficking, racketeering acts of WFSB, and with prosecutors involved with it, uses of their kids for it, attaching little kids fake locations. They're attaching me. They lied before they were prosecutors. Some of them attached me to fake locations. They attach little kids to fake locations, ties to doctors when they're kids into databases. Those same doctors are recorded sick with whoever their patients are. A whole bunch of people tied to a Leahy family, involved with racketeering with various natures of courts too. And leading up to, and in the Trade Center attack context, leading up to and in 2006 case with former director of the FBI, Robert Luskin, racketeering roles. And with his co-defendants, all these people racketeering uses in my area, and House/S involved with further natures of racketeering with child sex offenders, already further recorded, proven, and confessed, tied to the campuses, and to the uses of the Britain Superior Full Court's Facebook page with a whole bunch of people recorded, confessed, and demonstrated that a Jerry Kerr and that a Michael Kerr and people that use the name KNE or are involved with interbranch police with racketeering, human trafficking, police forms that are involved with medical campuses, again, shared with Russians. They're involved with human trafficking, racketeering uses of the departments of CCSU, of their stewards, of their family members, and therefore of perception, not dishonest on a mass scale, originally still, perfect world forsaken, maintained forsaken, exploited that way. Their roles with CCSU, with racketeering, with intercities, with child campuses, with the same minority, recorded how they're keeping the majority criminally foreign influence, racketeering uses of Trade Center, Washington, D.C., recorded, confessed, and demonstrated with WTNH, Fox Connecticut News, and WFSB, recorded, confessed, and demonstrated about a whole bunch of people involved with racketeering uses of the parks in my town, and our fire departments and their family members, and the policing of the stores shared. And they use the DACA marketing programs and things like that, and the stock market, and all these desperate nations needed to be counters to things Overt criminal enterprises, private ones originally still. You can't self-value that and also at the same time. You can't hide from logic's course unless you have all the logic experts as sick pay, fake. They're gonna pay a lot. Wealth means nothing here. We have black and white nations in collusion originally and still with slavery for these fake sides, racketeering, control over the entire Africa, control over entire America, criminally foreign influence zoning laws, pathology of infrastructure, only capable of being afforded individually grouped in together per the racketeering method against our founders who did not have free speech. Marbury versus Madison means true justice must satisfy all appearance of true justice is no hide it, don't make it up. Then you have to hide how you're valuing correlation nature's words and answers to questions proper, worse than obfuscated. Evolution's fruits and gifts and means, one way redeems. Who disbelieves? Who says that anyone can only speak for one side of a person? They can't speak for the Constitution's Trinity, which is sequence true too. Two natures of sequence beyond our control, at once connected to us. As all that is tied to demonstrated by what temporary positive is, as criminal insidiousness distinctly and from not distinctly with and as needs as logic's actual course and value progression and identity's needs to make positive out of negative, different distinctly from criminal insidiousness nature. We have branches of government recorded delusions, wrought criminally foreign influence, victim predators the same way and by the same means that keep the overt criminal enterprises as fake sides, self-valued as that. Because they were already racketeering, evil, blaming the real cause. I'm predicate acts on groups on. Groups like nations, groups like criminal enterprises overt, groups like armies. This is fluent through our nations. Psychology is involved with racketeering methods and natures and physical delusions that is inseparable from the conversation about what led us into World War I. Who knows the most facts are being used to hide this? What is basic, simple correlation? True always, and not denying any exceptions, not exploiting them, denied, and valuing that. That's all that's been done. We have not had one science and one person with free speech. And what pretends that doesn't realize that needs to pretend offensively to be against dictators. So they keep natures of value treatments that are oh, this is fact, this is true or false. Oh, it's a dictator, that's truth of something. It's not. Truth is, again, 5 semi-natures in their conjunction. True always or not. Boxing, get hot. Now force free speech and do not pretend to have an election, but be capable of election now. Get a response for give me a response. Because you know what they do too with this racketeering method? They are recorded consciously, criminally speaking through others and attaching them to fake locations, fake ties to others at the same time. As racketeering rolls with cases that went by already that they lied about that were won, and cases that they lie about that whatever they're using cases, they're using depositions to seed illusions into records, people to fake locations, fake ties to other people. Now there's a McCord, also a recorded confessed to demonstrate involved racketeering with the DeMoro family and with people around the Samuel Dix house. And racketeering, that's racketeering recorded, confessed, and demonstrated, tied to the campuses of each age and each nature, even intercities that aren't even connected, as people connecting them intercities. We have a Miss O'Neill with her daughter at the high school, at the grammar school of a principal sex offender, and she works in West Hartford, one of the West Hartford schools involved with the racketeering here. Now, these is military racketeering too. They're recorded consciously, pretending they don't realize the military could be involved with criminal foreign influence, identity theft, identity fraud, with judges, with police forms. Now, what are they going to do? Oh, that's a military person. They don't care about the military. Free the racketeering, get it out. You see what I'm saying? we're gonna take positions with the encounter positions with the ancient gaming system. We're gonna take the positions that them right on top of their physical delusions. They're gonna have to face them now. We're going to take counter positions that's going to make them have to face the sequence true, the finite lies and delusions that they already exploited. You're going to see their actually recorded natures. Those pretending to be about integrity, all victim predators. Now, free speech, get them from my name. Get me from those fake locations tied to people through time. They did this, WFSB. Not only they attached me to fake conversation with them, fake words, fake locations, they did sequence racketeering too. They did that because they did that after they were already involved with racketeering leading up to and in the Trade Center attack context, leading up into and in a 2006 case. They have a Fianza family also recorded, confessed, demonstrated with other people involved, like a Kerr family and two Carone brothers, a DeMoro family, and people with misspellings of those names. Joe Aiello and his sisters also recorded, confessed, and demonstrated with them racketeering intercities tie. And with some guy, I don't know, one of the people pretend recorded, confessed, demonstrated by people tied to them, involved with fire departments, like next to Trinity College. That's also involved with one of the women doctors of psychology involved with sexual offenders, other natures of male medical offenders, and drug cliques interbranch with judges, male and female, involved with child offenders, and female judges, black and white, involved with racketeering with hate groups and with racketeering acts with them, as black and white narratives now needed to pretend things that they can't pretend on paper. That's why they prevent. This is another one of the racketeering methods, is preventing people from having anything written when they pretend charges against us. And then they stick fake, falsified police reports, a whole bunch of fake things in databases through time. They've been exploiting it. My new and past neighbors made confessions, demonstrations, recorded racketeering with a Dillon family about their roles with medical racketeering, other people tied to it, with untimely deaths that were connected. Now, this is with the people that sold their house to them too, involved with Anna Dillon, with real estate racketeering, also with a Heather Hansen and Phil Cololo, and was involved with the sale of that house, and with what they're doing now, because they're preventing me. They're trying to make troubles because those people, they're trying to hide what they confessed and is actually recorded tied to them. Now, these are again uses of the stewards of the Witness Protection Program, also recorded, demonstrated, and confessed racketeering uses of state police families and of other FBI families in my area and intercities. So instead of having me go into people like they need, so they can get reactions. When someone's start talking about someone they never talked about before, they're going to start complaining about that. And otherwise, get them to pick one name in sequence too, because they have states attorneys recorded, confessed, and demonstrated, also involved with the racketeering, with the training of all the jobs, and with their roles with racketeering, with DACA, and with the markets positions tied to that. So we have statutes that tell them they should just hide things related to how we have nations grouped, sick, suits and ties, identities of law that can't defend themselves, and stand free speech with sequence true, with the order of the finite true, with the order of the active true, with the order of the progressive true, and with identity true. The identity that says that America is free, when there's people stacking in New York City like that, and pretending not to realize why individually grouped it together, really why we can't afford it. They're out of their minds. It's just your mind. Boxing. I tell you things. You have no value. You have no wealth. You don't care if you have $50 billion. You guys are racketeering uses of humanity in every nature of city, let alone. This is distinctly and non-distinctly sick. This is sickly, distinctly sick, so everyone's going to perpetually, effectively recorded missing how it actually recorded, but still missing how it is sickly, non-distinctly. Because everyone has opinions only shown. Everyone's a victim predator, only shown to use facts and truths as bullshit. This is our course, boxing. I dare you. I dare anyone to say. So you guys are just perpetuating science, which reveals instant reliefs. If that's what reveals fruits, evolution's fruits and gifts actual. You guys, what you call wealth is Leaf of Hadith, force space nature rate transfer. Earth simultaneously distinct and non-distinct relationship to the rest of space nature as the phenomenon what made it great gone. MAGA, make America native again. Because this is a native relationship to the ground's value to our quality of fact treatment nature. This is science's course, boxing. This is culture's course. Physical culture is temporary positive. You stop there, you're stopping at criminal insidiousness nature as a style pretending you don't realize beyond that. So any voice that pretends is acceptable, what is unacceptable is gonna demonstrate their physical delusions, their lies, and their sequence shifts, and their identity racketeering roles. So rather than have that discerned, they still have black and white wealth as racketeering natures, as human, as roles with natures individually grouped and together self-valued racketeering, the same methods, styles, like using psychology's physical delusions recorded, and racketeering roles with human trafficking with the various natures of courts and their family members, how they were motivated to it. Again, tied to DACA, but this was since before our founders, this method that has the identity of the ground used to keep them criminally foreign influence before they get to those positions. Then in caps and keep them needing to hide the same sequence shifts, finite lies, active lies, progressive lies, and identity racketeering lies. Free speech. Don't pretend you have a rights to election to play these games. They have words like argument and like debate. They're out of their fucking mind. You're still playing these fucking bullshit science with fucking color. I'll show you where the fuck I can't stand it. Respond to me, motherfucker. Who disbelieves? Pick one name in sequence, motherfucker. I'll show you how real fast to pull out the fucking liars. Because that's all the fuck we have in every fucking modern nation. You sick motherfuckers. Get the fuck out. You want to fucking see reliefs. That's what you want. You want to see reparations, do the fucking reliefs. Then you'll see the best reparations possible. Right now! We'll get them to one fucking name. Watch. I'll show you how to fucking do it.